Joe! Joe on Joe is the only podcast where Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Joe on Joe. It is me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and this week we are drawing Cover Girl once again. Cover Guy, more appropriate, I think, if you look at last week's. Listen, I'm not going to hide behind my deficiencies, and one of them always will be, unless some magical artistic fairy drops down on me, is my inability to draw female faces. However, I had fun doing it. I hope you guys had fun with it as well. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're back for more, I'll take that as a yes, or you're a severe masochist. And if you're new to the show, this is the Joe and Joe podcast where I've go through all kinds of G.I. Joe stuff. We've covered all of the episodes of the cartoons. We've covered all of the issues of the Marvel G.I. Joe comic book. Been running this for over 8 years. And now we're running through a comic book, a 3-issue comic series called The Official How To Draw G.I. Joe. So normally this is an audio only podcast. And so it is certainly the entertainment portion is geared towards audio. But I've been doing drawing for the last couple months, and and I'm having fun. So if you're hearing this and you want to watch it, go to YouTube, my YouTube Joe on Joe channel. You can go there and watch it in full. You can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Joe and Joe pod. These are available there as well. They drop a day early for patrons and then available for anyone to watch throughout the forever. So they are available on that page if you want to go there and watch it as well. And if you just want to hear the soothing tones of me talking to you as you draw, you can listen to this as well. It might lull you to sleep, but that's what we're here for, right? We're here to relax. Now, I've got a bunch of business to get to, though, before we get to drawing. And if you're watching the video, you're seeing a bunch of this business. This weekend was the big Robo Toy Joe Fest that took place in Burbank this week. And I was there with friend of the show, Dave Amiot. I also ran into Troy Smith there, ran into Josh Agabine, who we're going to talk about a little later. I ran into mega G.I. Joe community contributor Philip Donnelly. He was there. And a bunch of people, and more specifically, someone that we'll talk about a little bit later. And we had a blast. Got a bunch of great Joe stuff. Like, there was great Joe stuff there. I really enjoyed it. And you're looking at my haul. So this is my mail call for the week. And I am slowly but surely filling in those gaps from the early years. I finally own a Firefly, ladies and gentlemen. I never had Firefly before. Firefly is mine. And just to top it off, I got this is the it's the third Firefly, the battle one. I forget what that's called. But so it's not the straight up second Ninja one. It was the one that came with all the accoutrement. But I got me some Firefly. So that's exciting. Never had him as a kid. And now, my inner child is satisfied. I also got a Cobra His Tank driver. I had a His Tank, never had a driver. So I got him. That's exciting. Also, as you can see, I got me a Storm Shadow V2 in honor of that great classified V2 Storm Shadow they announced this week. I do have another Storm Shadow V2, but he is not complete. This one's got everything. I do believe he's also in better shape than my OG, so I'll probably be throwing the OG up on eBay just to keep the house clean. I only really need one, but he's clean. I like him. I didn't really ever have him, and I never appreciated him until I think now, kind of as an adult. I think as a kid, I really preferred the straight white one, but man, this is a good looking figure. So excited for that. I also finally have a dock, everybody. I never had a dock. This is complete except for one of his struts on his stretcher is broken, but that's fine with me. I always wanted a dock. Now I have got a dock. That's really exciting. Going down the line here. Last week we were drawing Cover Girl. I never had Cover Girl. I thought I did. I lied to you last week. I'm a straight up liar. After I recorded, I double checked because I was going to the show this weekend, and it turned out no cover girl. This is a real clean one. I'm really happy with it. Comes with the card. They had a Wolverine there too, but I don't have the room for vehicles these days. So I've finally got a cover girl. And just to round it all off, you see her standing there. I got a Scarlet Ninja. I've long had Scarlet, the original. That's nothing new, but never had the Ninja Scarlet. Frankly, I was always okay with that. I do not like the look. However, it was a good price. I love a carded figure. I love the way they look. You got to do it. So I'm slowly getting my Ninja Forces together. I think I've almost got all the Ninja Force guys, and I think I've got half of them on cards. So that excites me. I like it a lot. Oh, speaking of cards, what's this card underneath? Oh, we'll get to that. And then I picked up a few file cards to round those off. So I grabbed a Doc file card, I grabbed a Firefly file card, I grabbed a Histraver file card, and I grabbed a Deep Six file card because I know I didn't have one. Because I bought Deep Six on the aftermarket. Now, what's this file card, you say? Oh, it's just Claymore. It's a Claymore file card from the Operation Brazil, right? Special Missions Brazil. Who was it signed by? Oh, Michael Hill. What? He's the guy who wrote the Special Missions Brazil story tape, the radio play that was the Special Missions audio tape. And what talking about radio plays? That's weird. This show's been known to do radio plays. That's right. This show did a radio play called Cold Slither Behind the Music, or Behind the Rock rather, which was a behind the music show about one of our favorite episodes of all time of anything, the Cold Slither episode of G.I. Joe. And what did Michael work on? He worked on Cold Slither. So hoping of hopes, we connected. We're going to try to get him on this show. He was super great. It was such a real pleasure to meet him. And we're in touch now. So hopefully we're going to get him on this show sometime soon. But when he goes to the conventions, he carries Claymore because he created Claymore. So he's got a full Claymore file card. So you can put this in on your display case with your Claymore. That's right. A lot of you are saying, I don't have a Claymore. Well, guess what? I may not have had Firefly, but I had a Claymore. Special Missions Brazil was like my only sub-team thing that I had when I was a kid. And I dug it. I never really realized how rare it was until years later. Oh my gosh, what's this now? Now we're looking at things. There's even more here. I know we're covering a lot of ground here, guys. We haven't even started drawing yet. This is Dan Klingensmith's book, Creating G.I. Joe. Not finally, I don't mean it like that. I got my Kickstarters in, volume 14 and 15, the final issues of Creating G.I. Joe. If you haven't ordered this is the incentive. Dan put together slipcases so you can bookshelf these and they will look hot on your bookshelf. Got Flint and Jay, Destro and Baroness. The other side is, like his book's logo. Mainframe and Zorana. It's a lover's holiday here. That's what it is. It's all couples, and I love it. I'm real excited to see this. Dan, if you're listening, thank you for these. These are amazing. You run a good Kickstarter. You're timely, you're quick and efficient, and it's appreciated. And what's great is since he did these slipcases, you know what that does to the collector and all of us, right? That just makes the collector want to go, oh, well, now I need to get all 15 volumes, which I certainly don't have. I think I'm missing 10 volumes. So guess what, Dan? You may be getting a big order soon because I want these to look great on my shelf. The other thing, we're not done yet, guys. The other thing, talking about great Kickstarters. I told you, I talked to Josh Eggebein, and he said it was okay to chat about this. That's right. I have in my hands the unofficial history of G.I. Joe number 21 by Josh Eggebein. This is the Kickstarter book. It is, it's amazing. And Josh was gracious enough to get me a copy of it. He has a limited number. I'm not going to say what it is, but I forget what it was. But he has a small number of copies. He's going to be bringing with him to Joe Fest, which is, as of this recording, in like a week and a half. Josh will be there. He'll have some copies. Talk to him. Apparently, and this is his deal to his business with they're having all kinds of issues with the shippers and stuff that's totally out of his control. But he is working really, really hard to get these books in everybody's hands. Um, and I believe, this show is dropping on June 12th. He told me on the 11th he was gonna, which is a Tuesday, he was gonna kind of put an update out there to all of you Kickstarter backers. So look for that in your emails. Look on the Kickstarter for an update about what's going on with these books. But he gave me the go ahead. He said absolutely. He asked me to talk this book up and tell people that there's updates to it. He hasn't, he's working really hard to get it in your hands. And I'm telling you, it's awesome. It's really great. It looks great. I've read about a quarter of it so far. It is so comprehensive and really, really, I learned stuff about the production of this and literally read the first quarter of the book. So it's awesome. He did a great job with it. I flipped through. He covers at the very end. There were pictures of the Silent Castle dice tower that they just released from the game company, from the, what is it, Paragon? No, not Paragon. Yeah, the guys who do the Mission Critical games, Renegade games. Yeah, so that's how up to date Josh is with references to 21. Like, he covers everyone wherever 21 has been referenced that he could possibly find. He has included mentions of this in this book, literally up to that dice tower, which I believe I got shipped to me a month and a half ago. So this is awesome. It's great. If you haven't Kickstarted it yet, I know he'll have overage copies to sell once he gets all the Kickstarters confirmed and all that stuff. But check your Kickstarter for any updates from that. But Josh, thank you again. And guys, get on this. It's really great. Their books about collecting G.I. Joe and like all the various minutia of the like the iterations, I guess. Yeah, the versions of all these issues, like of all the like the actual physical collectors. Like, it's really about collectors, the books that they put out, the after action reports. It's really about the collectors. It's not so much about like, here's a detailed list of the stories, here's a detailed synopsis of what happened to Footloose in that episode, in that issue. No. It is a straight comprehensive look at the actual physical production copies and how things were done in the real world to get these books out there. And that collector brain in me fires off that, man. That is so fascinating to me. More than just a reference book. It's like a learning tool, so yeah, you use it to make checklists. Do I have this issue? Do I have this variant? Do I have that second printing, third printing, things like that? But more than that, you just learn more about the process that went into making this stuff. Very, very much like what the art of GI Joe is, in creating GI Joe. It's in the with Dan Klingensmith's book. Like, it's all the pieces that go into it, and this is literally the production side of it versus the like the creative conceptual design, this, and the execution of the creative. This is like the once it left their hands, how did this stuff get produced? And I think that's really wild. I think that's really fascinating. So but that's just me. I liked different stuff. It was great though. So it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. They really did a good job. This was the first year, if you're in LA, it was always held at the Pasadena like convention center, which is itself a sizable place. But this year it was at the Burbank Hilton, and it felt bigger. I don't know why. It just felt bigger. I think I don't know. It was weird. And the Hilton is the same place where the TF Con is every year. So it's that same footprint. And it was good. They did a nice job with it. They had some panels and this and that and the other. And there were a lot of vendors, a lot of Joe vendors. So nothing but good things to say there. Now, this week we're talking about Cover Girl. Oh, Courtney. And so, I mean, as long as we're talking about it, really, she needs to hang out I got this from, by the way, Treasures Unknown. Here, there's a plug for you. They didn't ask for it, but you're getting it, Treasures Unknown. I'm actually going to open her up right now. Where is my scissors? So Treasures Unknown, thank you. They actually, this place, this is not a paid plug at all. They have a location. Nope, just scan a QR code. Google them. They had some really nice stuff, and their carded stuff, or rather, I'm sorry, their figures with file cards were solid. Prices were pretty good, and I was certainly happy. I mean, this is a good looking Courtney, and I felt it was a very fair price. So she's going to hang out with us as we draw her today. What do you say? Hey, what do you say? So last week, that's the one we did, which is the head-on shot. So this week we're going to do her profile pick, and it's kind of varied up. I'm trying to vary it up a little bit every week. So this week's challenge is I'm going to use a charcoal pencil. So that's gonna produce a little bit of a different effect. Certainly there's a sharp tip on it, right? So certainly you can get, but if you notice already, I don't know if you could hear that. It's a blunter. It's literally charcoal. It's a rougher lead. It actually grabs the paper and slows your pencil down. Your pencil doesn't like glide over like a smooth lead like a number 2 does. And so it tends to be like you see if you're not familiar with what charcoal is, a lot of times people will grip it a little bit like this with both hands, and it's a real like rough, like they really get in there. It's very dark and very rough, and they use, it's easy to do like shades of gray because it's a good easy way to shade things like that. So that's what we're going to try today. So I don't know, we're going to see how it turns out. So already rambled about this week's mail call for about 15 minutes. So that ate up. Again, this timer's on like a 30-minute timer. So I'm going to pause here and we'll be back with the start of drawing Courtney Krieger. All right. And we are back. So let's start. And with it, because it's charcoal, I'm actually going to try to do it a little larger today. So let me see if I can get this into your line of sight. Not really perfected the whole camera, so I apologize. Again, flying by the seat of our pants with this a little bit. I know we're a few weeks into it, but it's not like I've gone out and upgraded my tech. So there you go. You can kind of see Courtney right there. So we're going to be operating off this and then moving there and then there. All right, here we go. Actually, quick change of plans. I'm going to do, no, screw it. I'm just going to do this. So I'm realizing now this is you're kind of giving her like a Cobra Commander head. That's what you're doing when you're doing the oval head thing. Speaking of that, man, I read Cobra Commander and Duke this week. Finally finished those series up. Oh, they're good. The Cobra Commander one's a little. I'll say this: I actually like Josh Williams' stuff a lot. I really liked his Flash. He did Cobra Commander, right? That's what I'm thinking of. If he didn't, then I apologize. But I liked it. I liked the story. It felt very disjointed. It felt like the first few, or let's just say the pacing felt weird. The first 2 or 3 issues felt a little more like, I'm going to try to say like here's going to be an adventure of this guy forming this stuff. And then in the last 2 issues, it just kind of like escalated to, oh my God, he's the most lunatic guy in the world and he's taking over everything. You know what I'm saying? Like if you guys read it, do you kind of understand what I mean there? So it kind of like, it's like, it's like that old Anchorman, boy, that escalated quickly because it really, really felt like it really did. Um, so that would be my that's the only thing that threw me really. Otherwise, and even that was fun, you know. That's just me having an expectation over what I thought I was getting in the first couple issues. Otherwise, I thought it was great. I like that. I like that everyone just calls him a lunatic. So that's her nose. So nose is going to match there. So that's the bottom of her nose, and then right about here is going to be her lip. So right now, locate the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears in the same relationship as the front view. The ears located on the center line of the profile. Her head balances on the neck like a block on a cylinder. So we had this here. So her neck was there. Remember, no Adam's apple. And then her neck would be there. And then there's a little bit of a shoulder there. Okay. So that's kind of, so as far as like what their dark, going by this, what their dark lines are, that we've kind of hit it. Right? Like that. That feels like a little more. There we go. I feel like that's kind of it. Okay. Now rough in the hair and other facial details as before. Remember, it says, remember that you are drawing a beautiful woman. You're talking to the wrong dude, man. Remember that I told you I can't do that. I'm untalented. I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with her nose and kind of bring that bridge of the nose in there, like her eyebrow shape. So it kind of starts there and goes up to the front of that forehead and then curves back. And then like that's her forehead. And then that was the bottom of her nose, right? So if that's her face, and the bottom of the nose would be there. An upturn. That's another upturn nose is a visual trick for to draw a more feminine face. I do recall that from my old Marvel, How to Draw Marvel the Marvel Way stuff. That doing giving an upturned nose. What and if you look at all humans, women, and whatever. Oh, Shirley's very upset. Noses obviously come in all shapes and sizes, but if you do the upturned nose, you are Shirley Feeney. Just took a dog pause. You're welcome. If you do the upturned nose, you I don't want to say it's a cheat. But it's it's one of the easy indicators to get a more feminine look. I'll say that. Also, I think it's really hard since I'm drawing the chin now, it's hard to do a dimpled chin, but if you look at human beings, right? If you're doing, oh, wait, that should be there. So wait, that's her jawline. So that's actually going to be there a little bit. No, actually, that's going to be there a little bit. If you look at an actual human, a girl, the noses and their chins, they come in all shapes. There's dimples. There's, it's not necessarily a totally male trait to have, a dimple in the chin or, or a nose that's not a button nose, right? But when you're looking for shortcuts to get across, that's what you're doing with comics. You're getting across representations of the action. If you're doing a life study, that's different. You can do a Frida Kahlo, right? But if you're getting across representations, like I doubt there's any, this is go as a little art school for all you art school nerds out there. There's probably very few comic book representations of someone like Frida Kahlo, who specifically, chose to draw herself as, I'll use the word unappealing as possible, although, some of those drawings are beautiful. She never shied. And this is something that, I learned from my art teacher, Miss Kramer. If Kahlo never shied away from her reality, and her reality, she had a unibrow and, so on and so forth. But if you were to draw her in the comic and still need to get across that it's a woman, she's still going to look more feminine than she probably does in her actual self-portraits, if you understand what I'm trying to say there. So every week it's just a treatise on how to excuse my inability to draw women. So there we go. So we're gonna get some hair here. And you guys notice this charcoal? I am also going bigger. That was the other thing last week. I was unhappy with. I was drawing so small I couldn't see. And I don't know, there's some of you youngsters out there. You guys may not have this problem yet, but man, I am almost 50, and I have had glasses since I was in the second grade. Second grade was when I couldn't see the board. Third grade, so that would be about 9 years old or something, 8 or 9. That is a long time to have glasses, and I do not see great. Now, I say that when I'm also about to say one of my very good friends, and who is a super talent, but one of my very good friends, Richard Fairgray, who doubt he's listening, but if he is, hello, Richard. What a talent. He does. He won a GLAD award for his comic book this year that was published under Fanbase Press, and the name of the book, it's escaping me. It's about like two kids teenagers having fun, like a voyage of discovery, but he won a GLAD award for it. He's an amazing storyteller. His big one was Blastosaurus, but he's done Black Sand Beach. Octopus was his memoir. Like, Richard Fairgray is a real he's a delight, and he's a delight to know. So let me just gush on him as a person. He's always got a great story about something, and he's fun to hang with. But the reason I bring him up is he is legally blind, and he has very limited vision. And when you watch him draw, it is a masterful piece of someone just getting in there, and he has to get so close to, I'm not sucking out of school, but I know she shared videos of him trying. He gets so close to the artboard because he can't see it. And you look at his work, it's so finely detailed. I've always thought that that's a result of him being so close to the board. But you would never know that the man who does this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff is, legally blind. He can't drive. Like, he can't see. But man, what a wit, what a great friend. If you're listening, he just moved back to LA, and I have not caught up with him, so I need to do that. But yeah, and check him out anyway. Just if you like comics, check it out. Richard Fairgray. He's a real talent, and he's always doing. Speaking of Kickstarters, he's always doing Kickstarters. And he's like Kirby level productive. When I say that, I'm not joking. This man produces more pages a year than anyone that I actually know personally, like literally anyone that I know, and any artist that I could imagine. I can't imagine an artist pushing out more sequential art pages. I'm not just talking sketches. People like do sketches to, to pay the bills, like they take commissions and stuff. I think he does that as well, but I'm talking actual sequential pages. Richard does a ridiculous amount of pages every year, and is just an absolute workhorse and someone to be admired as for his work ethic and their quality. It's not just, he's not pumping out garbage. Like I said, he just won a GLAD award for it. which also came from Fanbase Press. If you're not familiar with Fanbase Press, they're LA based. Very nice, very cool, very nice people, very cool people operate it. They've been around, I think, 12 years, for 13 years. They've been around for a while. They do small publishing. They do very indie stuff and very personal stuff. And they're real easy to get to know and be friends with. And Bryant and Barbara Dillon, that's who. I'm trying to think of their names. And they're great. And they do really good stuff. So check out Fanbase Press. And I think we've talked about them on the show before, because I think some of our authors might have had some work with them, but they're really great. They're a very nice couple. They're super, super in the comics community out here. And they're a publisher to look out for. I think it's one of those things of like, there's a lot of small publishers, and there are so many publishers that you hear terrible things about. Unfortunately, not everybody has the kinds of, wait, her hair actually, her hair actually should go down to here. I apologize. Not everyone has like the, look out for your fellow man vibe. I think that a lot of, I know I do. So a lot of publishers tend to screw over the creators, and that is not good. So they are not one of them, is what I'm saying. I've seen nothing but good things out of them. And as long as we're there, if you're doing stuff, if you're doing Kickstarter stuff, if you're doing, the kinds of garbage that I do, like the be as, you don't have to, obviously you're not breaking your own bank, but be as generous as you can with your talent. Give them all the credit in the world. Give them the the accolades if you can. If it's if it is a paying gig, cut a check, even if it's just a little bit, whatever you can afford, you know what I mean? Like, share the wealth. That's what I'm saying. Because so many people think that they do stuff. Well, you do it for the, for the, what publicity or experience or all that stuff. It's good and great and all, but people's time is worth something. And I think we should all work hard to honor that, even if it's just with all the kudos as possible. It's why, I don't know, not to plug my horn, but man, anytime we talk about here, anytime I talk about, whatever, Cold Slither or, GI Columbo or, any of that tomfoolery that we do here, man, I really try, the first thing out of my mouth to say is how great the performers were, and just how generous and giving they are, because that's really where it's at. They're, you work on something for a long time and everything, and your name's on it and all that, but you get people who are the face of it, and they're the voice of it, and they bring it to life. And if they're not awesome, and if they don't give you that, you don't have much. And so you gotta be good to them. This goes back to our sketch days back in Chicago when we did, we were doing some paid shows, and I made sure everyone got paid. It wasn't a lot, but it was what we made at the door, and we made sure to cut checks, because why not? That goodwill goes a lot further than the $50 that you would pocket that day or whatever it was. Any hoots. I'll get off that soapbox. I will say this came together a lot faster, and a lot, frankly, I won't say the word better, but better than I thought. I like this charcoal, and yeah, this is, and so you see now too with the charcoal, it's not coming off as easy, right? Because it's I guess it grips the paper a little better. It's a little grippier, and I'm trying real hard not to smear it, but it's really in there. But yeah, there's, I mean, just listen, there's been worse cover girls. I'm gonna say that. Let's see, back of her head's a little weird. That's all right. That's all right. Back of the head's a little weird. Hey, now you Joe, look at that. I'm not wholly disgusted by it. All right. Whoa. Well, I guess we're not using that pencil anymore. I just wiped it off the page. So I guess we are done with that pencil. Okay. Where'd it go? I got it. Okay, here we go. So yeah, there you go. That's Courtney. Maybe it's because we had her here. Maybe it's because we had her here the whole time as inspiration. Maybe that's what it is. Well, I think that merits a full-on 90210 sticker. Just there you go. Well, that's it, ladies and germs. Thanks again for listening. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, look at that. Timing wise, I think we pretty much got in under a half hour, close to it. So, man, I enjoyed doing this. I hope everyone enjoys it as well. I hope you enjoyed the banter and the conversation. We'll see you back again next week. I'm not sure what, why, and where for, but next week is the big Joe Fest week. So I hope everyone who's going there is all excited and all joed up for it. And I think if there's anything else. Oh man, while you're out there, please give us a listen and a rate and review. Check out us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Joe and Joe Pod. You can say hi at joeandjoepod@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just to get a reminder when we put up these new videos. You can also listen to the regular podcast through there too. So it's funny because now they've recently introduced a podcast catcher on YouTube, which is great. But I also have it streaming. I was already streaming it to YouTube through my podcast distribution network. So now it actually picks it up 3 times because then I also upload this as a video. So it's very confusing and I got to figure something out there. But you guys are all the greatest. And you know what? Don't forget to check out our sponsors. They are the Movies in a Meal podcast. They're fantastic. They sponsor the show. They keep the show running. I saw The Watchers last weekend. I didn't love it. It was okay. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know like what its overall theme wanted to be. We could get into that. I could talk about it for a little while. I don't know anyone else that saw it, but like it wanted to be a movie about this, and then it wanted to be a movie about that, and then it ultimately ended up being a movie about something else. And then you're like, okay, sure. So I guess it's based on a book. Maybe they were trying to do too much. Either way, I don't know. It was fine, but I don't know. I just know that summer movie season is here. So give our friends the Movies in a Meal podcast a listen. So with that, I'll say goodbye. And now you Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.